The convoluted nature of policy, especially foreign policy, means that causes and effects can be separated by years. The consequences of a bad policy and the benefits of a good policy are not usually reaped during the presidency of whoever made the policy. This is perhaps worse on the issue of climate change, where the gap between policy and effect is so distant as to be unfalsifiable. And maybe it's too much to ask for voters to do the work of going back and actually looking at real causes and effects. And whoever wins an election is always ultimately not going to be about merit, but about dumb luck of timing. But Trump has introduced a new approach that may be more dangerous, knowingly implementing bad policies, but in a way where the consequences only happen after you leave office. Previous presidents did not do this, for the simple reason that they were afraid they would be called out on it. Trump is betting that the current climate of distrust for experts will protect him from anyone who points out his game. And I'm worried about what will happen if such a transparently cynical strategy works. I mean, assume all the dooming about how Trump will destroy democracy is wrong. Every following presidential candidate is still going to look to Trump for lessons on how to win. You could already see this happen with how Trump corrupted the Democratic Party after 2016. Candidates went from treating voters like they were 10 to treating voters like they were 4. And Biden has been terrified of making even the slightest challenge to special interests, lest he end up getting shanked like Obama. In fact, that's the reason his foreign policy has been so bad. Outside of Ukraine, there's more continuity between him and Trump than between him and Obama. If Trump wins because voters are so bad at connecting cause and effect that you can engineer their blame like Pavlov's dogs by just timing things right, every president is going to start using the same tactics. Whatever constitutional crisis comes and goes, that institutional rot will remain. It won't just be one president, but a bipartisan dynasty of presidents like this. People sometimes like to dismiss criticism of Trump by saying that he is basically the same as any other president. The only real difference is how he says things. But in diplomacy, what you say is policy. It turns out that when you are the president of the United States, being a huge blundering dumbass who constantly says stupid shit really does, in and of itself, get people killed. You can see it now in Ukraine. It's not just that Trump statements have had effects only for the past 4 years either. The time gap between policy communication and consequences can happen the other way. The anticipation of a new Trump term is already hurting Ukraine right now. The reason Putin is ramping up the violence and throwing so much armor at the wall in Donetsk despite a looming tank shortage is because he's gambling on Trump freezing the line in February. So he's trying to grab as much land in the east as possible.